Welcome to Brilliant Thinking. Intrigue your mind.
In our first video, Sharpen Your Analytical and Problem-Solving Skills, we laid the foundation for sharpening your analytical and problem-solving skills. We spoke on ways to improve and further develop your intelligence by training the brain to deconstruct problems and find the best solutions. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, be sure to check it out at the link included in this video. In this video, we will go further to help you in achieving real mastery by going beyond theory and start applying advanced techniques. We'll push your mind even further with powerful frameworks, counterintuitive thinking strategies, and mental models used by the world's top thinkers, and that will further sharpen your analytical and problem-solving skills. Ready? Let's get started. Number 1, break free from cognitive traps. One of the biggest roadblocks to great thinking is cognitive bias, which is the mental tendency that occurs in the way individuals reason about the world and make decisions due to subjective perception of reality. Even the smartest people fall into these mental traps that distort reality. Let's tackle a few types of cognitive bias and uncover how to use critical and analytical thinking to solve them. The anchoring bias. The first cognitive trap we want to explore is called anchoring bias. This happens when your brain latches onto the first piece of information it sees. Let's explore an example. If you're buying a product, the first price you see will become your reference point. As an example, if the first price you see is $500, a discounted price of $200 will feel like a steal, even if it's still overpriced. In scenarios of this nature, 2 critical problem-solving skills must be applied. 1. The comparison skill. Always compare prices from multiple sources when faced with situations of this nature. This way, you will have multiple reference points from which to make an informed decision. 2. The what-if skill. Ask the question, what would I think if I had no prior information of the first price? Would I still consider the deal a steal? This approach will allow for the exploration of alternative scenarios and perspectives to solving the problem at hand. Confirmation bias. The second cognitive trap is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias can be traced back to the way in which our brains were trained and wired to process information, and occurs when we seek information that confirms what we already believe. In other words, only looking for evidence that supports what you already believe. To break free from this trap and boost your analytical and problem-solving skills, you must train yourself to argue against your own opinions. When faced with a problem, ask yourself, what would someone who disagrees with me say? A sharp mind welcomes opposition. It does not run from it. Reflect. Reflecting can help individuals recognize their biases and consider alternative viewpoints. Logical fallacies. The third and final cognitive trap we want to explore is that of logical fallacies. A logical fallacy is a flaw in the structure of an argument that makes it invalid or misleading. Let's break down 2 common ones. The first logical fallacy we will explore is the straw man fallacy. This involves misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Let's examine a scenario and how to use analytical and problem-solving skills to solve the problem presented in the scenario below. Alex thinks remote work can boost productivity and improve work-life balance. Sounds reasonable, right? But Jamie responds, oh, so you just want everyone to sit at home in pajamas doing nothing and expect to get paid? Let's pause. What just happened? Jamie didn't respond to what Alex actually said. Instead, they twisted the argument into something easier to attack. That's called a straw man fallacy, when someone builds a fake version of your argument just to knock it down. So how do we use our analytical skills to solve this problem? Step 1. Reframe the argument accurately. To reframe the argument, Alex could say, actually, I said remote work increases productivity and supports balance. That's different from doing nothing. Step 2. Use facts, not fire. For this set, Alex could further state, there's research showing remote workers are often more productive than office workers. Step 3. Ask a clarifying question. In step 3, Alex could ask, are you saying all jobs need to be in office or just some? By staying calm and clear, Alex would be able to avoid the trap and turn a bad argument into a better conversation. The second logical fallacy we will explore is the false dilemma. Have you ever been told, it's either this or that, there's no other way? That is called the false dilemma, thinking there are only 2 choices when more options exist. Let's look at an example. The manager of company B says, we either cut staff or raise prices. There's no other way to stay afloat. Here's how we can use our analytical skills to solve this, evade this false dilemma. Firstly, we recognize the trap. Secondly, challenge the assumptions. And thirdly, explore alternatives instead of cutting jobs or raising prices. What about automating tasks to save time? Offering bundled products to increase value? Reducing office expenses or renegotiating vendor contracts? Adapting this approach will help you challenge the assumptions and become real problem solvers. Number 2, the art of second-order thinking. Most people think one step ahead, but the best thinkers think 2, 3, even 4 steps ahead. This is called second-order thinking, which is understanding not just the immediate effects of a decision, but its long-term consequences. The next time you have to make a decision, ask the question, and then what? Do this at least 3 times, and you'll push your mind to start seeing beyond the obvious. Number 3, the 5 why technique, digging deeper into problems. When seeking to solve problems, we often stop at surface-level causes. To apply deeper analytical and critical problem-solving skills, you need to apply the 5 why technique that forces you to dig deeper. The 5 why method helps you dig deeper. 1. Identify the problem. 2. Ask, why did this happen? 3. Take that answer and ask why again. 4. Repeat 5 times until you reach the core issue. For example, Company A has identified delivery speed as a problem to be solved. Let's look at the application of the 5 why technique as we dig deeper to solve the problem of delivery speed. 1 why, customers complain about long delivery times. 2 why, the warehouse is slow at processing orders. 3 why, there aren't enough workers. 4 why, the company cut staffing costs. 5 why, to boost short-term profits. Now, instead of just fixing delivery speed, the real problem, cost cutting, can be addressed at the root. Apply this technique to any issue in your life and you'll start uncovering real solutions. Number 4, reverse thinking, flip the problem. Sometimes, the best way to solve a problem isn't to move forward, it's to go backward. This is called reverse thinking. Instead of asking, how do I succeed? Flip the question and ask, what would guarantee failure? By flipping the question, it allows for a more critical and analytical conversation, perspective, and approach to solving the problem. Let's say you want to be productive and you ask, what would make me completely unproductive? The answer could be multitasking, checking social media, skipping sleep. Now, the solution to this problem would be to do the exact opposite of these actions to optimize your productivity. Reversing a problem often reveals insights you'd never see otherwise. Try it next time you feel stuck. Number 5, the 80-20 rule. Solve problems efficiently. Did you know that in almost every situation, 20% of causes create 80% of results? This is the Pareto principle, and it applies everywhere, from business to learning to problem solving. If you're learning a new skill, 20% of the core techniques will give you 80% of the results. If you're debugging a system, 80% of the problems likely come from 20% of the root causes. Want to be more effective? Identify the critical 20% of factors that drive the biggest impact and focus your energy there. We are more than halfway through, and if you're still watching, you're already ahead of the average thinker. Let's continue to dive deeper. Up next, I'll show you more techniques that can be applied to improve your analytical and problem-solving skills. Stick around. Number 6, the power of pattern recognition. One of the most powerful skills of an analytical thinker is pattern recognition. Your brain is wired to find patterns. It's how we learn languages, recognize faces, and predict outcomes. But here's the catch. Sometimes our brains see patterns that don't exist, leading to false conclusions. So how do we sharpen this skill without falling for illusions? Try these steps. 1. Collect data before drawing conclusions. More information reduces bias. 2. Test your patterns. Ask, does this trend hold up in different situations? 3. Look for alternative explanations. If you only see one possible answer, you might be missing something. Number 7. Creative problem solving, thinking outside the box. Great analytical skills aren't just about spotting errors, they're also about finding creative solutions. Here's how to train your brain to think outside the box. 1. Reverse the problem. Instead of asking, how do I solve this? Try, how can I make this worse? It sounds weird, but it can lead to surprising insights. 2. Use analogies. Compare your problem to something totally unrelated. How would a chef solve a business problem? How would a musician approach a math equation? 3. Embrace constraints. Sometimes having too much freedom can block creativity. Set limits and see how your brain works around them. Number 8. Applying skepticism in daily life. Finally, let's talk about using skepticism wisely. It's not about doubting everything. It's about questioning things intelligently. Before accepting information, ask yourself, 1. What's the source? Is it credible? 2. What's the evidence? Is it strong or just opinion? 3. Could I be biased? Be open to changing your mind if the facts demand it. Let's look at this scenario. You're scrolling through your feed and an ad shows up. Lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Guaranteed. No exercise, no diet, just take this pill. Now, sounds amazing, right? Or maybe it sounds too good to be true. This is where your skepticism kicks in, not to immediately reject it, but to pause, question, and investigate. The first thing to do is to identify the claim. In this scenario, the claim is, they're saying this pill causes dramatic weight loss without effort. The next step is to ask questions. Who's behind this? Are there any scientific backing? What's in the pill? Are experts saying anything? And most importantly, does the logic hold? Then you explore the evidence. You find the company isn't FDA approved. There are no credible trials, just some vague herbal ingredients and a whole lot of sketchy testimonials. Once the evidence has been explored, you need to identify the fallacy. In this scenario, the fallacies identified are appeal to nature, 100% natural, cherry-picked stories, look at Amy's results, and false dilemma, take this or stay overweight. Once you have gone through all those steps, the final thing to do is make a smart decision. From the application of skepticism, we were able to identify that no evidence exists for the claim. There is bad logic as a result of a false dilemma, and the ingredients are risky ingredients. With all that information, you can trust your analysis and skip the hype. Reject the claim. In conclusion, great thinkers don't just accept the first answer. They challenge assumptions, think in layers, and apply powerful mental models. By practicing these techniques daily, you'll develop a great analytical and problem-solving mindset, a tool that will help you solve problems, avoid misinformation, and think more clearly. Pick one technique from this video and apply it today. If you found these insights valuable, hit that subscribe button for more, and let us know in the comments. What's a problem you recently solved using analytical thinking? See you in the next episode. And remember, question everything, think brilliantly.